Let's talk about exchange-traded funds. You've been critical of them in the past. You showed some data yesterday looking at turnover within ETFs. A lot of people use them for fast trading, and you've been critical of them mainly for that reason. But it seems like maybe you're softening a little bit, that you think for a buy and hold investor, an ETF can work just fine, right?
Well, I am softening a little bit. Can you imagine Bogle softening? But not in the way you suggest.
Oh, you're not getting soft, I'll say
no,
that.
No, and meaning that kind of a consequence, investors trading and so on. The trading is the investor's enemy, let me be clear on that. And that's a fundamental principle of mine. So not in that way, but being ETFs, it can be used, it was at a Morningstar conference not so many years ago, probably 25, when I said ETFs are like the famous Purdy shotgun. Great for killing big game in Africa and great for suicide. It all depends on what you want to do with the gun. I'm afraid there's too much trading in ETFs, but I also see that maybe I was too tough on the fact that there is and can be and is legitimate uses of ETFs. Without the ETF, I think it's fair to say the robo-advisor industry, which is bringing costs down and using more technology. I hope not too much, because that won't give the answer either, but it's enabled that to be a business. It's enabled us to sell index funds in a lot of different venues very easily. Because this is the same registration problems. They're listed securities that just trade. And so there's a good side. And as I say in the book, if an investor should try to figure out whether they want to own the Vanguard 500 traditional index fund, which I call the TIF, traditional index fund.
I like that.
And nobody else does. So I appreciate that. And the Vanguard ETF, it is an indifferent decision, ETF versus TIF. But when you get into this reverse leverage, all these games thing, all the crazy new ETFs that are started. We have a vegan ETF. I don't know what to do quite about that. I'm not a vegan, and I think there must be room for vegans. But the idea that stocks associated with veganism, well, somehow veganism is, I guess, my word. It's opportunistic marketing. Somebody wants to come in and make a lot of money, and at the expense of the investors who put their money in. Because don't forget, the gross return on the market minus cost is a net return to the investor. And some of these pricings are very, very high, particularly relative to other ETFs. So, yes and no. But there are good uses of them. And there's still an awful lot of evidence that the kind of funds that are brought into it are bad, and the way investors are using those funds are bad. And this constant trading of the S&P 500 SPDR and other S&P 500 funds, it turns over, I think, 5,000% a year. It's institutions trading money with one another. Is there anything the matter with that? I don't really see anything the matter with it. But does it have any social good? I don't see that it has any. And it's a business that, frankly, bores me.